Alright, this is part 2 of the What If There Had Been No Double Shantays on Drag Race video, this time covering seasons 11 through 14. Yeah, just those 4 seasons for one video. It really makes you twink. Anyways, just like in the first video, the winner of the lip sync will be the first queen that was called safe. However, in scenarios where we get some version of Shantay vote stay, we'll have to resort to violence. I mean, to other ways of deciding. Starting with season 11, we have maybe the most famous double Shantay, with Brooklyn Hytes and Evie Oddly. Now, this is the first double Shantay we're doing where the winner of the season is in danger of going home. When it comes to editing, we really did not get one or the other queen doing better. It was pretty evenly edited. So what do? I actually have 2 scenarios in mind, but they're not a scenario where either one of the 2 goes home. Brooklyn Hytes had the season's A storyline with Vanjie, so much so that 2 or 3 queens were sacrificed in order to keep Vanjie in the competition. And Brooklyn's almost perfect track record was sacrificed for the sake of that top 5 lip sync against Vanjie. So they probably never would have eliminated Brooklyn here. However, Evie had the B storyline of the season, so it's not like she was a supporting character, but for a while the show did not really care to give her a winner edit. So, in the first scenario, we are eliminating Evie, sadly. Yes, it is season 11 if the villains won in the end. So episode 8 ends with Evie going home and me shitting my brains out because of it. Next episode is a top 7 episode, so we do not get the LAPD challenge. We could do it at the top 6 since we need pairs for that, but that's reserved for the makeover. The Drag or Cadabra challenges teams were chosen by the mini challenge winner. The LADP episode had the reading mini challenge, so we're going to transfer that into this episode and replace the put a ball in a basket mini challenge. The reading challenge was won by Brooklyn Hytes, so we are keeping that. It's a magic show, but it's a magic show on Drag Race, so you have to be funny. Under quotation marks, funny. We've seen previously and in the LADP episode that Brooke is very smart when it comes to her picking her partners, so I believe that she would have picked the top 3 queens from Snatch Game for her team. Silky, Shuga, and Nina. Thus, the other team consisting of Vanjie, Angeria, and Plastique is in danger, and I believe that they would have been the clear bottom 3. Plastique never really excelled in comedy challenges, and after Raja and Angeria exposed the production meddling with her, the producers, of course, soured on the idea of having her in the finale. Nina wins the Maxi challenge here, with Brooklyn being high. We're putting Silky and Shuga safe. Originally, Shuga was put in the bottom 2 because the show wanted to protect Vanjie's original team, because it had 4 queens that were all important for the main 3 storylines of the season, so they sacrificed Shuga. However, this time they don't have to do that. Since Angeria's runway was not even a caftan, really, I'm putting her in the bottom 2 with Plastique. Originally, the storyline between Angeria, Raja, and Plastique, the C storyline of the season, concluded with first Raja being taken out of the competition by Angeria when Plastique won the Maxi Challenge, and then Plastique going home in an episode where Angeria won the Maxi Challenge. Since Angeria in producers' eyes had to win this storyline, let's say that she takes out Plastique in the bottom 2 lip sync. Episode 10, thus, is the makeover episode. Here's the thing. It doesn't matter who comes back and who gets whom. Pretty much everybody just had their partner wear something that they brought from home, with Silky getting the hardest job of having to sew something. Because nobody on the season was as big as her, and so whatever she brought from home would not fit her partner. Nina would possibly have a similar problem, with Shuga still being in the competition and not being able to be her partner. And then also, Shuga did not do this challenge originally, but she did post her looks on her Instagram. And as you can see, it's pretty much in the same vein as what Angeria and Brooke chose to do for the runway. Here are the results. Brooke wins again, and she also wins the episode's mini challenge. Vanjie is high, while Shuga is safe. I put Shuga before Angeria simply because Shuga's looks are at least a little more fashionable than Angeria's, which were just gowns with pretty much nothing on them. Yeah, Angeria is low, and we get Silky taking Nina out of the competition in the infamously meh lip sync. Episode 11 is the top 5 episode where the queens record their verses for Rose's song and then they perform them all together. This episode is reserved for the Brooke versus Vanessa lip sync when Vanessa goes home, so we know the end result of that. How about the other 3? Originally, this episode did not have a winner technically. However, Evie got almost all positive critiques, Angeria mostly positive, and Silky mixed. So in my mind, they were always the winner, the high queen, and the safe queen. Yeah, see, Evie was not given a win because the show did not see her as a contender for the crown, and I'm so glad that she proved them wrong. Shuga is a good performer and she can sing also, so I doubt that she would be worse than Silky, but I also gotta give some love to Angeria. In the lip sync for the crown finale, Silky is yet again chosen by the producer, by the sheer randomness of the wheel that totally does not have a motor behind it, to be the first to lip sync. I don't think that Silky would have been as hated by the fans in this version of the season, simply because there was no Evie to kind of point out the nonsense of Silky, Angeria, Brooke, and Vanjie, but I do think that she still would have got some hate, sadly. So I assume that she would have chosen Brooke to go up against yet again, kind of knowing that she would beat her and that she would not have to possibly deal with the hate after winning. Angeria, I believe, beats Shuga. Both Angeria and Brooke in this scenario were up for elimination more than once, and once Brooke wins the season, which I assume happens, we get our first ever winner that was up for elimination more than once. Just in time for Canada's Drag Race and the beginning of Drag Race's second decade. What's the second scenario? Well, let's say that nobody goes home between Brooke and Evie. Now, I know what you're gonna say. What the hell? I thought this video was going to be a no double Shantays video, and it still is. Somebody will go home. You know how I said that the show planned for a Vanessa versus Brooke lip sync? Yeah, so what if that lip sync happened at their Snatch game? Vanessa was low. We could just switch her and Evie and eliminate Vanjie here. Yeah, let's do that. Episode 9 is yet again the Drag Cadabra challenge. We again have the reading mini challenge here with Brooke as the winner, with her picking the same team like in the previous scenario. Angeria, Evie, and Plastique would have thus been the clear bottom 3. I believe that here we would have got bottom 2 lip sync between Angeria and Plastique for the same reasons I mentioned previously, with also the same outcome. Episode 10 is, again, the makeover episode. Using the same logic as before, especially regarding Shuga's looks, and with everything in mind when it comes to the disadvantage that Silky and Nina are at, we will immediately go to the results. Brooke wins both the mini and the maxi challenge, while Shuga is high. Always a bridesmaid, never a bride. Angeria is safe, Evie low yet again, even though, by the way, I do not agree with her being low in the makeover challenge, but that's what the show told us. And Silky takes out Nina. Top 5 episode now does not have a specifically designated lip sync for it. I think that the storyline this time would revolve around Shuga and Evie in this episode. Shuga as the only queen without a win in the season, and Evie as someone who's had a streak of 3 low placements, but having a very strong beginning in the season. Both of them need a win, but only one of them will get it. Even though in the previous scenario I did put Shuga over Silky, knowing how little the show cared about her, I think Shuga would have been in the bottom 2 here. In the previous scenario she wasn't because we did have designated bottom 2 queens and the rest could have been judged, let's say, more or less fairly, but this time they have free range to put anybody that they want in the bottom 2. Evie gets a win, Angeria is high. So who do we think is safe? I think that the show would want to keep the possible Evie versus Silky lip sync for the finale, so they would have put Brooke in the bottom 2. And I think Brooke beats Shuga here. We have the same top 4 as originally, so I believe the outcome is the same as well. Ooh, that was a long one. Luckily for me, season 12 is going to be a short one. So in the top 6 makeover challenge, Jackie Cox and Legend and Closet were in the bottom 2. Heidi being there because of the same disadvantage that big girls always have in the makeover challenges. Not saying that Heidi's a big girl, but her partner in the challenge was. Heidi wins the lip sync, but Jackie is saved. This time, she, of course, isn't. We move on to the top 5 episode. Luckily for us, not having to endure that nonsense stand-up comedy monologue, whatever the fuck challenge. Fun fact, after the double Shantays this season, I stopped watching it, and I only watched the rest of the season for the cast rankings video. Here's the thing. The Drag Race Vegas, Viva, whatever, wasn't judged based on the performances. And how do I know that? Because the critiques that the queens got did not match with their placements. Jaida, who did not get a single negative critique, was high. Gigi, who got negative critiques, won. Why is that? Because the show wanted season 12 to be a battle between Gigi Goode and Sherry Pie for the crown. Oh, how they got it wrong. So, even though Heidi would have killed this challenge... Oh yeah, by the way, Heidi agrees with me. I still think that she would have been put in the bottom 2 because the show, and RuPaul sadly especially, did not seem to care about her. In the battle between RuPaul's lover and Heidi, no matter how well Heidi does, RuPaul's butt boy is getting to stay. Sherry is then taken out of the finale and Jaida wins the season, thankfully. Season 13 will be a little longer. Kandy Muse was almost fully eliminated before Rose saved her. Not on my watch. Even though Kandy ended up being one of my favorite queens of the season by the end of it. Yeah, Kandy doesn't get her redemption in this scenario of the season, sadly. Episode 9 is the top 8 episode, and here's the thing. Every season needs a Snatch game, so we're doing a Snatch game here. Originally, this was the makeover episode, but I will keep that for the top 6 episode. We know how everybody would have done in Snatch game. Kandy's exclusion does not change anything, so let's continue to episode 10. We have 7 queens here, and I have decided to put the Pop Goes the Queens challenge now. Again, we know how everybody would have done here, except for Denali. We've seen Denali be funny, we've seen her be able to do improv, so I have no doubts that she would have done well. Rosé also gets the mini challenge win here, like she did originally. Here are the results. We get a double win between Rosé and Symone, with Denali being high. Liv is safe and Gottmik is low. Utica takes out Tinta Burnter in the bottom 2 lip sync. Episode 11, the top 6 episode, as I've said, is going to be the makeover episode. Originally, the queens here were paired up based on certain relationships that they had, or based on their clear differences in drag. So I think that the pairs this time would have been Denali and Rosé, Utica and Symone, and Liv and Gottmik. I separated Denali and Liv simply because Rosé and Tina were originally paired up because of their connection, and Denali and Rosé clearly had a connection in the season. Liv and Gottmik may seem like the odd pair here, but the two of them are both queens that have great styles, but they are very different in how they approach their fashion. Plus, they both, up to that point in the season, play the same character in drag. Not same as their characters are the same, but they were always the same different character in drag. You know what I mean. Liv was criticized for it, while Gottmik, not so much. Since the judging is done in pairs, the winners of Symone and Utica are still the same. Gottmik originally was high here, Liv in the bottom 2. But Denali was in the bottom 2 with Rosé being low originally, so I think that the safe pair will be Gottmik and Liv. Rosé takes out Denali in the bottom 2 lip sync. Hear me out! I think this would have been the best lip sync of the season. Y'all will disagree with me saying that Rosé beats Denali, because Denali is a powerhouse who has already beat Rosé in a lip sync. But the track records matter, and the show acts as if Hispanic queens do not matter, so sadly we do have to take that into consideration as well. The top 5 episode is absolutely not going to be the acting challenge. That is stupid. It's going to be the roast of Heidi, Valentina, and Nina West. This episode had a mini challenge where the queens competed in pairs. But now that we have 5 queens, what do? Hear me out. They do the mock tutorials like they did originally, but now each queen is behind a different pit crew member. Originally, Kandy and Rosé won this, so let's give Rosé the win now as well. We know how all of these queens did originally in the challenge, so we're just going to get to the results. But we do have to bump up Gottmik and Rosé, since Kandy, the original winner, is not here. Thus, Gottmik wins the maxi challenge, Rosé is high, Liv is low, and Symone takes out Utica in their bottom 2 lip sync. Thus, we have the top 4, consisting of Gottmik, Liv, Rosé, and Symone. In the original finale, the wheel chose the lip syncing pairs, so basically the producers ensured to have who they wanted in the final lip sync. This time I think the first pair is Rosé and Liv, with Liv winning, of course. The second is Gottmik and Symone, with Symone winning. Thus Symone ends up winning the season yet again. Last, and definitely the least, season 14's double Shantays, the one in the top 5 episode before the finale that saw Angeria and Willow in the bottom 2. The story about this double Shantays goes as follows. First, they filmed Willow getting eliminated. Then they filmed Angeria getting eliminated. And then they filmed a double Shantays. Furthermore, Angeria was called safe first, even in the double Shantays. And as much as I can hear and have been listening to y'all yelling again, that means that Willow gets eliminated here. What happens now in the finale? We lost our winner. We could do the lip sync for the crown since we have 4 queens. Originally, they couldn't since there were 5 of them. We could also simply pick the queen with the strongest track record and the queen with the most fan support to be in the final lip sync. And then we could have chosen our winner. Out of the top 4, that would have been Camden and either Angeria or Bosco, but I would prefer it if it were Angeria, simply due to the storyline that she and Camden had. So I think that in this scenario, Angeria wins in the end, though between Camden and Bosco, I think Camden wins. And speaking of Bosco, what if we did something similar to what we did with Evie and Brooke? switch the low placing queen with one of the bottom 2 queens. So let's say that in the top 5 episode, Bosco is in the bottom 2 with either Angeria or Willow. Bosco actually got more negative critiques than Angeria, so her being in the bottom 2 with Willow makes more sense. Thus, our top 4 finale includes Angeria, Daya, Camden, and Willow, and I think that Willow wins again. However, I don't think that this happens if we include the lip sync for the crown, but that's a video for another day. And that's it. That was the part 2 of the What If There Had Been No Double Shantays on Drag Race video. I want to give a shout out to all of my supporters on Patreon. You guys are all great. Thank you so much for joining and for helping me out. If you want to support me, you can also join my Patreon, but if you're not able to do so, you can also like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching.